Hey guys, it's Ellen here, and it's Mindy Monday Madness. And we're doing some ink and wash watercolor again today. I thought it'd be fun to do some vegetables this way. This technique is so easy and so quick and so fun to do. You can do tons of vegetables this way. I go over everything step by step. If you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable. If you're not a Patreon member, you can still just easily draw this. I'll show you how to draw this. But the traceable is up on Patreon. If you're not a Patreon member, you can go check it out. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursdays. That's four extra tutorials that are not on YouTube that come with traceables or reference photos. I have ad-free videos and traceables that go on my YouTube. It's a place people can go to support my channel. And coming soon, I'll be doing live streams once a month on the higher tier. Please hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials up. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Let's get painting some veggies. Okay, so I'll go with my supplies. I have 3 pieces of 100% cotton cold pressed paper. This is the Arch paper. It's got a nice little tooth to it. My palette, my paints, I go over them and I always have in the description box. Paper towel, I'll be using probably my Princeton 8 long round Velvet Touch Series brush. And then maybe, no, actually I don't think I'll need the number 4 long round, but water. And yeah, so if you're a Patreon member, you could download the traceables. If not, basically, just go look up how to, it's easy to draw simple carrots and beets. Beets are basically like a circle with a little wiggly line down here. And then for the greens, you just kind of go like this. Just wiggle some greens out here like that. And with the ink, you're just going to play around with adding in some ink marks, just like that. So you just do a couple of these, 2 or 3, whatever you want to do. Carrots, again, you're just going to go down, curve it. So we curve it like upside down frown, and you're going to kind of wiggle down into a point. And then you're going to have some lines going across. And again with the greens, just kind of wiggling up like this. And then for peas, it's a kind of a curved line here, and then a nice smiley face. Think of a smiley face, right? Then you have a little wiggle line here, and then these little attachments for the peas. For the open pea, kind of like a carrot shape, but then you have the circles in here with the peas. And then you just do some vines and some leaves off of that. So there you go. So I already drew in my design here, just faintly with pencil. And I'll go over the beets and the colors. So beets, obviously like a red beet color, which is kind of like a deepish cranberry kind of color. And then we got the greens for the peas and carrots, the oranges. So either way, we can do a couple of things. We can either take a Sharpie pen and just go ahead in the beginning, draw in the carrots. Zoom in a little bit. Or we could use the pen and ink. I like to use a nib with the ink. The old-fashioned calligraphy nibs. So, you can start, if you're going to use this Sharpie, you can use it in the beginning, right? Just wiggle in your little design. But if you're going to use the nibs with the calligraphy ink, you're going to have to do that after you do the color wash. And you can do the same thing with the Sharpie pen. So basically, I just showed you how I just drew that, and you just kind of do that afterwards. So I'm going to just make some simple carrot color orange. I have brilliant orange here, which I could use. But I can make orange with yellow and magenta. And I might just tone this orange down. It's kind of a little funky. And make some darker. And see, I put some orange here and add some magenta to that. Get a little redder. Grab some burnt umber. You can put some little bit of yellow into it. The carrots don't all have to be the same tonality of orange. So I'm just going to wash in using my brush. Get my paper towel close by, actually. And another thing, guys, you don't have to be painting in like right in the lines. You can paint right outside the lines. It's kind of cool to do that. I might leave a little white here. Just kind of loosely just painting this in. This is just a fun exercise, like a sketch. You could do this in your sketchbook. But if you have friends that are gardeners, I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow in here. Make the carrots a little bit different. See, change up the orange a bit, make it more yellow orange. If you have friends that are avid gardeners, this would be a great gift to give them. Just simple wet on dry. I'm adding a little, see that little magenta I added in, make it a little redder. You can add some brown. You want to change up the carrots on all the same. You know, some could be really deep orange. See how I just change that one up? Let me zoom in a little better. And grab some more yellow in this one, playing up the orange. And see how I'm just loosely just painting this in, kind of like they're really wet at this point and they're going into each other. I'm gonna add some of that red color in here. I can go back and add some of that brilliant orange in here. Just want it really simple and loose. And I'm not even painting in the line. See, I just painted right outside that line. Now for the greens, I'm gonna grab some cadmium yellow deep. I have my peacock blue here. I mix a nice pretty green. You see the peacock and the yellow. Make this nice bright green. If you add some Prussian blue, it's going to make that green a little darker. See? Grab some more yellow. Add a little burnt umber. Yeah, I'm just going to get this green, different tones. So it's a dark green, and I'll add more yellow if I want a brighter green on this side. Kind of have a couple of greens mixed in around here, and then I'll play with all of that, painting it. See? So I'll just grab the bright green. I'm just going to go in here. I'm just going to wiggle my brush up like this, just going these movements, just like this. Really kind of fun, loose. This is like a sketch style of pen and ink. So you could do all the vegetables this way. Grab some of that dark green, just kind of bleed it in a little bit. See, that's why you have them close by. You have the light and the dark. Just kind of wiggle that. Carrots have those, they kind of look like this when you go to get them. They'll have all these little vein kind of stems, but since they're bunched together, you're not really going to see that little detail. You could paint it that way if you wanted to. My sketch doesn't really show that, it just shows like a bunch of greens, and that's fine. So I would probably put some dark green, or just grab some Prussian blue. Just put some Prussian blue right in here. See that? Just bleed it in. We're doing this real loose, guys. We've not. Same thing with the yellow. You can just grab some of this yellow. Go right in here and bleed in some yellow. See, you get the bright green, kind of yellowish color. I want you to play around with how to do this, you know? There's no rhyme and reason. It's just playing with your brush and the color. And see now that the orange is kind of right there, kind of boring, dried a little flat. I'll go back in and out a little deeper reddish orange color. Just a little bit here. Just for that variety. And see how simple and quick that was? And when that dries, we can go back in with the ink and have fun with that. Since we already have the greens and the reds kind of playing around, we'll do the beets next. So I've got the paints here. So now it's going to be more pink color. So we got the magenta, because the beets will be pinky. I have a crimson right next to it over here. Oops. Zoom out so you can see a little better. You might want to be adding a little bit of this Prussian blue. So purpley, see? The beet color. The crimson. Can add a little bit of the yellow to get it a little redder over here. I'm going to have a bunch of different colors going on here. So it's like a red color tone, the pinky one, and more of this crimson color. All right. Again, really loose. See, I'm mixing the crimson in with the magenta here. We're gonna leave a little halo on this side. Just going really loose. See, it's still kind of on the pinky side. We'll add some color in there. Get that crimson in here. Do the little wiggle stem, part that comes out of the ground. I don't know if you guys have good luck with beets. We've not had good luck with beets the past few years trying to grow these. So here we go again. Now I'm going to get some deeper colors in here, because that's just like pretty, but too light. And wiggle, wiggle. Okay, so we're going to add more Prussian blue. So it's purple. A little bit of the yellow. It's getting a little muddy. I'm going to go back and get more crimson here. And magenta. I want this deep, dark. There we go. Red tone. Kind of bleed some of that. Just like that. So just kind of bleeding it on the edges here. Get that deep beet color. We got the beet. Oh, we still have the pink one underneath. Gonna put some of that down in here. Grab some straight Prussian blue. Let's put that in here too. See? That's pretty easy, right? And then you'd put some of this pinky kind of color going up into the stem. See? Because the bottom of it is kind of pinky before you hit the greens. Now I would do this before the greens. See, I'm just going to do like 1, 2, 3, just like that. See how they look like little stems coming out? I'm going to clean up our brush. Got some more yellow. Okay, and then we got the beet colors. So, the green color, I'm sorry. A little deeper in the greens. I've got the dark green going here and the lighter green. A little burnt umber. So we want to make this really loose. So I'm kind of wiggling it and attaching it. Grab some of that yellow to that pink stem. Just like that. Wiggling it around. Wiggle it here. And we'll deal with like adding in the ink later. Right now we're just going to bleeding in kind of browns and greens. A little brownish color here. I got some burnt umber mixed in with the green. You want a variety of tones. Some colors. See, I'm adding some of that brown in here. You can go back and add some of that pink going up. Straight magenta. And I'll put some greenery out here, just really loose. You could just take some straight yellow, go up in here too. Then we have our beets. These are fun to paint. It's like little sketches. Gotta have fun. All right, we'll put that one aside. Now we got all this greens. We're gonna be doing the peas. So light green, darker green. We'll start off a pretty pale green, bright color here. Maybe add a little more peacock. Especially for the little peas. So I'm going to just put that color in here. Leave a little white halo if you can. On all the little peas. Peas past the please peas. Just like that. And then we can use this color for the little cap. We're going to be playing around with adding colors too, don't worry. So grab this color, put this in the pea pod. And then we can add, I'm going to grab some more of this peacock blue. See, now we got a nice pretty medium tone green. We can kind of bleed some of that. In with that bright green. And this one I'm just going to do the medium tone green, and I'll bleed in some darker tones. You want a variety. Variety is the spice of life. I think I'm going to go back over with the cap when this is kind of dry and do a darker cap color. Now this one is going to have to go a little bit tricky. We're going to have to paint where the peas are in the pot a little bit darker. So I'm putting the lighter green on the outside. We'll go a little darker in there. So this one we're going to have to wait till it dries a little bit. You can grab a little like Prussian blue. Kind of bleed a little bit on the top. That was a lot. A little bit on the bottom. Get a little variety going here with the colors. See that? Kind of cool, right? This is still wet, so I don't want to go in between the little pea pods. I mean the little peas. So we're just going to play around with the vine. Just do like a nice brownish green. You might need a skinnier, smaller brush for this. You can also use just the ink for this. You don't even have to use the green later on. But for the leaves, I keep them on the brighter side. Bright and pretty. And like the little vine. I have a little vine down here. I did add it in my sketch for the traceables, but I like to paint intuitively as I'm painting. I'm like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to add some more little leaves. And that's how you should think of things also. Here's the little cap. It's not one particular way. So we're going to have to come back to this one, let this dry a little bit before we can go in and fill in those other colors. Just going to go add a little more leaves here. Have fun with this guy. All the little vines and whatnot. You can throw just like a pea out here if you wanted to. So, this is fairly dry. So you can take the Sharpie pen, or if you have the nib, like I do, which I love playing with, because it makes those fat and skinny lines. Remember, be careful because it can splatter. And you gotta go back over your carrot, make all those little lines. It's a really cool kind of sketchy look. I try and take up the excess ink. So I went over those Sharpie lines. If you need a guide and you want to draw all the lines in, you can do that. Or you can go back over it and have both combination. And you just make all the little ridges. And then up here in the green, just kind of, you're just throwing in some of the ink haphazardly all around it. Doesn't have to be everywhere. See, just wonky, sketchy kind of look. That's the whole point. So this would be a good idea if you wanted to put all of these kind of vegetables, even more, in your sketchbook for ideas. If you're just doodling and you're sitting at home and you're bored or stressed out and you want some release, painting is a great thing to do for that. So see, just really simple. Make all the little ridges. One thing I didn't talk about we could do, of course you want to move the other ones aside. I'm going to cover those. Is we can do a little splattering with my orange color. Now I would have probably done this before I put the ink in. Let's see if it's going to bleed on the ink. Yeah, put a little splatter. By your carrots. Not too much. And then the green. See, I'm having kind of like just on one side. It's kind of cool, right? The carrots are done. So, the beets should be dry, yes. And like I said, maybe you want to splatter first before you, or you could do it afterwards because, actually we'll do it afterwards because we're going to do the ink. So again, same premise with the ink. I go in here and just add, this one's still, whoops, a little wet. And I had a lot of ink. I knew I was going to mess up somewhere, guys. But I'm just going to suck up that ink and move around. This is why you keep a paper towel close by. Oopsie daisy, Maisie. All right, so little snafu. Not too bad. Hey, this is life. No editing here. Okay. So you could go outside the lines and put the ink out like over here, way out here. You don't have to be like right next to or right on top of the actual painting. Again, just kind of wiggling in the greenery. Get that sketchy kind of look. Out here, some wiggle lines. Now this one really doesn't have many ridges. You can just kind of create some kind of fun, like loose sketch lines and some veins on the leaves. See, I'm adding some veins. Just have fun with it. And I'm like paranoid about getting that splotch. We got the beet. Okay. And then again, cover my peas. You could splatter this baby. I got the magenta colors, crimson. Kind of like on the tail down here. Maybe I'll turn it. I can aim it that way, yeah. Like that. And with the green, same thing. You want to put some splatter on the green. Simple. And our peas. Last but not least. Let me clean up some of this mess so it doesn't get on the paper. So we'll go back, and you might need a smaller brush for this one. You're going to go inside the little... Okay, so I'm going to make a darker green. Grab some of my Prussian blue with the yellow. And I'm going to go in between all these little pea pods, peas in the pea pod. I know this is the tedious one, but it has a cute look to it. Just kind of fill in that color here with the number 4 brush. So this one's a little bit of work. Right? And we'll mix up those greens again, and then we'll do the little cap that was not being shown well. And I'll fix this one too. Can add a little darker greens just to balance out some of the other ones. I'm going to add a little darker green outside here. I'm going to grab some more yellow and go in between here. Just playing around with the greens on this one. Okay, so when this one dries, we can go ahead and do the ink. So I'm just really going loose around these little peas. You want to get really technical, you can add, you know, a little color here, but not necessary. Grab a little of my yellow. I feel like it got muddled a little bit. Okay, so we're going to let that dry and come back. Okay, so we're going to go back with our pen and ink now that it's dry. Make the mess. And we'll go and we'll cover all the little areas. See, we'll just wiggle that ink nib. I hope you guys are enjoying the ink series, the pen and ink series. It just changes your watercolor in a different way. I'm going to do it outside of the lines. See how that looks? Just another way of playing around with watercolor. People seem to enjoy it, so I've decided to keep doing some of these. I think next Mini Monday will be a little bit more traditional watercolor. I've done enough of these pen and inks, right? But I really like the look of it. And you could just have fun. And I'll go over all those little peas. I think playing with different mediums, so you have the ink and you have the watercolor. It's just like another way to, so you can take this ink and make your own little squirrelies out here. I didn't have them in the sketch, but you just add them. See, just changes it, right? And then we can splatter this one, and we don't need to cover this. Grab some yellow. Oops, grab a bright green. Since we gotta make it kind of all consistent. And that's that. It's of course still wet, but we have our veggies. Oops. So, get this mess out of the way. Peas, carrots, and beets. You can do the same technique with all kinds of veggies. You know, it'd be fun to do some onions, like the open onion with all the little lines you can do with pen and ink. Be fun to do an artichoke. I was going to do an artichoke, but I decided not to. Oh, this little ink, see, kind of bled a little bit. That's okay. Imperfections are actually kind of cool. They end up actually being the cooler kind of design. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Mini Monday Madness. Have fun with it, play around with it, do some other vegetables. You can just look at vegetables online. You guys can just, you know, play around with it. There's parsnips and carrots and beets and celery, you name it, corn, go nuts. Have fun with it. Do like a whole bunch of them and you can frame them all and put them in your kitchen. It'd be kind of cool. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for coming to my Mini Monday Madness. And again, please don't forget to hit the bell notification button to my tutorial up. And yeah, if you're a Patreon member, don't forget you have the traceable. So take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.